Hello,
Yeah.
hello.
Hello.
Um, Good day, everyone. How are you doing? I trust we are all doing great. All right, welcome to the careers in machine learning. And today we'll be talking about everything you need to know. And also, glad to announce our guest, Michał Kuzba from Poland is here with us today, and it's awesome to have him here. So quickly, we want to know where you are calling in from, and we will be back shortly in 30 seconds. So just type in the comment section where you are calling in from, whether Ogun State in Nigeria, whether anywhere all over the world, those states and the country. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Thank you. All right, welcome back, everyone. Great, I can see reading us from Scotland. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so quickly, we are going to learn about great things today, and I'm really excited. Yeah, so, what's your energy level at in the ratio of 10? Because mine is at 10 over 10. Let's hear from you. It's your energy level in 1? Is it 10? I hope someone over the audience energy level will be at 20 over 10. Quickly, let's hear from you, please. Great. So, pending that, I'll be bringing up Kuzma.
Hello.
I
Hello, guys. Hello, Iska. Hello, everyone.
So what's your energy level at today? Because mine is at 10 over 10. What about you?
Once again, just connected.
Sarah, am I audible? Hello.
Hello, guys. Can you see the presentation? Awesome. So let's start, shall we? Shall we start? If someone can confirm that you can see the slides, that would be good. The first slide, at least, before we start. My energy level is good. It's Friday afternoon, but it's really good.
Wow. Awesome. Okay, over to you now. So over to you. You have the floor. Let's hear from you. So can you just tell us about yourself, a brief about yourself? Who are you? Where you are currently? Yeah.
Sure, I'll plan to do that. So just, I have something on the slides, but once again, hello everyone. I'm Michał from Poland, and finishing my master's degree at University of Warsaw. And yeah, happy to be here. Don't know, I have a bit more about myself on the slides, so we can start with that. I don't know if we see them.
Oh, great. Really awesome. So high school and everything over there.
I'm waiting for the slides to share. Awesome. I guess you can now see them. Is it correct? If someone can confirm, I'm not very skilled in the tool. It's not I haven't done many live presentations with the internet so far, and I guess you can see them. So if someone can confirm in the meantime, perfect. Thank you, Vid. Awesome. Awesome. So let's kick it off. So once again, I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for the invitation. And great to be a part of it, and proud of you organizing these events for people over the Africa and over the world, apparently. So I was asked to speak about careers in machine learning, and actually I'm going to speak about three things on these slides, which is briefly introduce myself, so that you know who is talking to you from the other side of the computer, and maybe you will find some part of it interesting or inspirational, or learn something from my both successes and failures. And then we're going to talk about machine learning briefly. Obviously, we can cover everything. We'll briefly talk about it, and then about careers in general, and careers in machine learning, internships, and all that stuff. Cool. So this is me. I'm hopefully soon graduating from University of Warsaw doing my computer science degree. But my main focus is data science and machine learning. And right now I'm a data science intern at Expedia in Switzerland, in Geneva. And also I'm working part-time for over 2 years now as a machine learning researcher at the MySQL Data Lab, where we deal with interpretable machine learning, which is a very fancy area of understanding what machine learning models do, and how artificial intelligence is sometimes dangerous to people, and how to either regulate that or how to better understand decisions of machine learning models. So I have some experience in this domain, and also in natural language processing, and graph neural networks, and chatbots. And other than artificial intelligence, my passions are traveling, geography, collecting postcards, and generally learning something new, like today here. So hopefully you'll find some bits of this presentation beneficial to you. I definitely will learn new things, and feel free to ask questions anytime. Interrupt me if at any time, actually, in the comments you can ask questions that I'm very happy to answer them, either now or off or after the event, or you can also connect after the event if you watch it offline as well. Feel free to reach out to me if I can help you. I'm very happy to do that, and also happy to meet you and talk to you. Great. So I'm gonna briefly speak about my sort of a career path so far, my internship experiences. So the first internship I had was in my hometown just after high school. Then I interned at the University Institute, working on some language processing in automatic text summarization in Warsaw. And then I worked in a fintech company in London, also working in the machine learning team, where we worked on detecting money laundering and some other shady financial transactions. Then back to Warsaw and Samsung. I worked on the speech synthesis in Samsung Bixby voice assistant. So if you have Samsung's phone, if you ever use the voice assistant, I did my very tiny part of it. Then in Microsoft in Oslo in Norway, and in Facebook in London, I did 2 internships in that year. And then I went back to Microsoft in Oslo, but this was after the pandemic started, so everything went remotely, and I worked from my hometown in Poland for the Norwegian office, which was also a very fun experience. And right now I'm working here in Geneva in Expedia. So there's been a few internships and few countries, and just to understand that in the broader context, there's a few of them, but there was way more rejections than the offers. So behind this, there was a lot of applications that failed, interviews that failed, and that's the part of the game. But yeah, I really like that, and I had a great experience in each of them. So that's the picture from the Facebook office in London, and these are the countries I worked in so far. Cool. So let's move to machine learning. As you could also already hear, I worked in a few places in a few domains, and that's the part of the machine learning I really love, that it's focused on solving problems. But there are so many domains, data sets, and fields you can work that you definitely will find something that you're passionate about, and you can apply machine learning there. That's one part of it I really love. So there is, for example, there is computer vision. You can work with images or language or time series, any financial data or any signals. There are tabular data, medical records, all sorts of that. Then speech, chatbots, recommendation systems, any sort of analytics on data. So there's plenty of that. That's just a short list. There's definitely way more. And for me, why this is so fascinating, why machine learning is so fascinating, and why I do this is one of the reasons, that you can solve problems which are challenging, but they are everywhere in any domain. That's why I think it's very interesting, because when I went to university, I was thinking about geography, which is another passion of mine, or some other fields. But I thought that, okay, if I work on data, if I code, but if I work on data science, probably machine learning I wasn't that familiar with, because a few years back it was not so popular yet. But you can definitely choose within the field. You can choose the stuff that you're passionate about, other than the technological part or like algorithmical part, which is also very interesting. What is also super cool about this is that it involves a lot of exploration. There's no fixed path. Oftentimes nobody did it before, or maybe only did something similar, but probably nobody applied the technique to your data set or your specific problem. So you're exploring something new. You're embarking on a journey that you don't really know where you end up with. You only have a hope that you will solve something and you'll get good results. Which might be a trap, because maybe you will spend some time and you will not get any good results. So that's something to remember, depending on you, if you like it or not. But there is some sense of exploration and excitement in this, that you don't know before you try. You don't know what will happen. Another part is that the field is changing rapidly. So if you have a publication or some library from, say, 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, it might no longer be used So there is a lot of learning. You need to keep up with technologies changing and with algorithms changing. It's very, very rapid. Again, that might be a trap. Depends on if you want to learn a lot new things, or you rather want to settle as an expert in something. But I personally think it's really interesting. And then the last bit I like is that it involves some theory, it involves some math. Obviously, that depends on what exactly you do, but at least in some parts of it, you combine the theoretical and applied knowledge, which is very interesting, because you have a contact with real problems, but you have some nice algorithms and theory behind. That's interesting, of the combination of two worlds. But that definitely depends on what exactly you do, and there are a lot of options. So this is important thing to remember. I stole this picture from a blog of my internship mentor. I definitely recommend to check out the blog. But what she shows here is that there are multiple roles within machine learning. That's also true to software engineering in general, and probably any field. But there is much more than at the beginning you will think. And the good part is that you will definitely find a place for yourself. So, for example, if you're more of an engineering person, you can deploy machine learning models, you can code them, and do stuff on this side. If you're into theory, reading papers, publishing papers, you can move into research. If you like to analyze, visualize data, you can be a data scientist or a data analyst, and there is a variety. So everyone can find something for themselves. Cool. And then what sort of skills, what tools do you use when working in machine learning? What you need to learn, or what's good to know, and what you can expect as a part of the job? So I listed here some of the skills and example tools. This is by no means exhaustive list. These are some example tools only that I think are the easiest or the most useful or most commonly used. But there is definitely more. So the first part is problem solving, and there is no any tool for that, right? It's an abstract field, but an exciting one definitely. So if you have some problem to solve with machine learning, it's not so easy that you get some data and you can apply an algorithm on top of that straight away, and you'll have some results. Usually, it's not even obvious from the beginning what sort of approach you need to take. Perhaps you need to transform your problem to something that you know how to solve. You need to spend some time thinking how to design the pipeline, how to design the evaluation, how to is it perhaps a graph problem? Is it sequence problem? So there's a lot of approaches. So that's the first part. Then you need to code. That's the language of executing your ideas. That's how you do stuff in the field. So coding is a bit that is very crucial here. And for that, usually people use Python, Jupyter notebooks. It's also good to have some basics in general software engineering, because sometimes you need to run some library and also follow practices that software engineers use when they work with code. And then, as I said previously, there is some math. Not always, but sometimes there is. It's good to have some command of probability, statistics, and maybe a bit of calculus and algebra. So if you were wondering why I do that in my university, then there is a good news. Sometimes it's actually useful in real life applications. But definitely it's not something that you really have to use if you go for more of an engineering field, for example. Then the object you work on is data, and working with data is very time consuming and is a very good share of what you do. If you have some toy data from like a competition or maybe some tutorial, then it's maybe ready to be attacked with some approach like an algorithm or something. But if you get data from some real life sources, then you'll have a lot of mess. You'll have missing values, or incorrect entries, or there are lots of things, and you might need to transform your data. So, for instance, if you have geographical coordinates of some places, you might need to first try to measure distance between these coordinates other than just using the coordinates. Sometimes you have sometimes missing information and stuff. So there's a lot of that is working with data, and if you have a good, well prepared and clean data set, only then you can achieve some meaningful results. And then the modeling, which is what you usually think, the neural networks or linear regression or any sort of algorithm. This is the part that's very, very crucial, but not the only one. And people do that in different frameworks in Python. So Keras, TensorFlow, scikit-learn are the names to look for if you're interested. I listed here evaluation. I'm not sure if it's a skill or not, but this is also an important bit. If to understand if your model is performing well or not really. And there's a lot of misconceptions here, and sometimes people think their models work very well because they have some good numbers on the statistics, but the models are not performing so well they expect. And this is the part that some of the statistical understanding is an important one. And then visualization, and perhaps not only visualization, but any sort of communication of your results, either to your clients or other people on your team, or any person you want to explain. Because in the end of the day, it's people that will consume the algorithms. It's us who use it, and sometimes you need to explain to some other people, so you need to show some charts, some graphs on top of the results or all of the data. So this is an important part. And the last one is deployment and cloud. So your model needs to run somewhere on some machine, and this is often resource consuming, and it won't be your own machine, and definitely it won't be. It needs to be some servers or some cloud. So usually you deploy on some cloud, for example, or some other servers, and you need to know how to do that. So knowing a bit of the popular cloud systems is an important one. And the comment is that you don't need to know all of them. Depending on what you do, you need to know only part of it. And probably the good way to think about it is that you need to be an expert in something and have a basic understanding of the other fields. That's usually a good combination. So yeah, there is a question. Do you know any interesting examples of real life machine learning applications? Sure. Unfortunately, I'm a bit biased because I know, for me, interesting are the ones that cause problems. There are definitely a lot of real-life machine learning applications that bring good for people. I try to think of an example like that. and definitely the place where machine learning algorithms are really good compared to people is that they scale well, that they can do the work that is boring for people and do it very quickly. So if you think about, well, actually, if you go on the internet, you start with Google search, there is a lot of machine learning behind it. If you right now I'm not using it, but if you have a virtual background, there is some, usually there is some machine learning that tries to detect where is your head and where is the wall that you need to cover with the virtual background. The interesting part of it is, the funny one is removing some objects from photos and reconstructing the background. It works well probably if you want to remove your ex-partner from the picture, but it's definitely an interesting field. But yeah, there is a lots of them. So I don't know. The area I count the most on machine learning is healthcare, because, well, we don't do very well on healthcare, and we won't have 10 times more doctors than we do now, and then we won't be way better with diagnosis without algorithms. That's what I believe. And there is also no discussion that improving healthcare is bringing good for people. An interesting, or maybe interesting bit is that the diagnosis of some diseases, especially because then you can use data, historical data and historical diagnosis, and you can support your diagnosis with some strong evidence based on data, rather than just a single doctor looking in their head and trying to compare to patients he only or she only saw in their experience. So yeah, the evil or the troublesome applications are the ones that decide about human life a lot and involve biases. So the good example is judges, the AI judges. So the belief at the beginning was that, well, people are biased because they can prefer people for some private business or some prejudices based on their race, gender, or something, or they can be bribed, whatever. Humans are often weak, and they can do some stuff they shouldn't. But people think that, well, maybe computers, they don't have biases, they don't have, well, feelings, or they don't need money and all sorts of stuff. The problem is when computers learn from humans, and that's sort of what we do right now. We use historical data, and historical data is based on human decisions, and human decisions were biased, so computer will learn how to repeat the biases. So there is an issue of that for using artificial intelligence in some domains that are really deciding about people's life. Cool. I hope that there was okay. Cool. Thank you, Vid. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, and encourage you to ask questions. So if you wonder how to start, that's a common question. The first thing to say is that there's no fixed way, and probably for everyone it will be a bit different. So oftentimes people think, I'll do a course on, say, Coursera, and that's a great way to start. It won't work for me. I tried courses several times, and I don't think I have finished one. The internet online courses. I did my university courses, of course, but but yeah, the issue is that I've never found the motivation to complete it. So what I recommend a bit more is doing some project, because you will see the progress. You can choose it probably, so you can work on something that's interesting to you, but you will see the progress. You'll get the fun of making something, and while you try doing stuff, you learn a lot. You learn on the actual experience. And how to find a project? There is, for example, there are competitions on Kaggle. If you're more into competitive stuff, then you can try this. But also you can think of any stuff. You can construct a data set and try. So, for instance, if you're into airplanes, you can construct a data set of different airplanes and try to detect them from pictures, classify them from pictures. But that's very up to you. You can find some problems in the internet and some data set and try with that. But yeah, that's the thing I recommend. Also, you can try to run some solutions that's already existing. So reproduce somebody's work, and it's not as easy as it seems. And there is a good learning behind that, because usually nothing will work straight away, and you need to understand it first. So if you have your favorite algorithm, if something is exciting to you, you can do it yourself, and you will definitely learn a lot as well. Getting a job, which we will go into that, is also a way to learn a lot. Obviously, for the resources where to search for information, what I would recommend is blogs on Medium. So if I search for something on the internet, when I code, if it's more about the engineering part, I will end up on the Stack Overflow website. You probably all know. And when I ask more of a machine learning question, I often end up on the Medium site. And there are a lot of blog posts that explain things really well, on also on the beginner level. So I definitely recommend it. And for the technical part, for a low entry threshold, you can use Python or Jupyter Notebook. Or if you don't want to set up your own configuration, you want just something that works straight away, you can use Google Colab. And there are also a lot of notebooks which you can just run in Google Colab and try to experiment with something that's already done. Cool. So we finished the machine learning part. Let's go to the job searching. I'm gonna just drink. Cool. So I'm gonna give a few tips from my experience. Hopefully they're any beneficial to you. We can discuss them as well. So the first part is to explore the options. I often see that people don't know what really options they have, and usually they have only a limited view on what they can do. And so for the type of the job you can do, you usually think about just a full-time job, but you can do a part-time job, internship. You can work on the university lab. You can be maybe an assistant of a professor, or there are different experiences you can get. And on the position level, if you study computer science like me, you usually think that you can be a software engineer, you can code. Whereas there is way more things you can do. You can be, for example, project manager, product manager. If you're more into machine learning, then you can be data scientist. But we've seen there's more options on the table. So if you like technical part, but you're also into managing projects, then you can find something for yourself. So the more options you have, that's obvious, but the more options you have, the easier for you is to find something, and it's easier for you to find something that you will like. So it's good to explore the options and redo this process from time to time. Cool. And then what to do? You need to take action, and my recommendation is to start early. The earlier you start, the easier it is for you, because you'll have more time for failures. and unless you're very lucky or you're very good at your job, but well, usually there will be a lot of failures on the way, and I myself had them. And you need to have time to learn from that failure. So the earlier you start, the better. Also, you're probably you don't have a pressure. I need to find a job right now. If you start in university, so it's easier for you just to search and get experience. And finding a job is a skill. If you're in the university and you feel that, oh, okay, I'm here to learn, learning how to find a job is also a valid case. So that's an important part of education. Okay, so start early and start now. And don't wait. There is also oftentimes a trap that I'm not ready yet, I don't know anything, why would I find a job? And that's not true. You can find a job at any point if you think about it. So don't fall into the trap that I need to complete my education, and after 5 years of university or even more, only then I will start to look for a job. That's not the way it works. So don't be shy and take action and give yourself a chance. And how to start? This is a tricky one. There's often this circle, this crazy loop that you need to get experience to get a job. And how do you get the experience if you need to have an experience beforehand? So how to break it, how to start? So there are options definitely to get an experience for the beginning. You can try internships, which have lower entry level. You're not expected to have experience when you start internships, or at least less experience is expected. And maybe university job, but also you can try some personal projects, non-profit jobs, anything that will prove that you did something. That's important. In my case, one of my first jobs was the feedback I got is that a positive factor was that I had some competition experience at the Olympiads. So something from high school that just helped me to stand out from others a bit. So yeah, basically search for the different options, and if you don't have any experience, you can learn doing some personal projects or contributing to projects of other people. There are different options out there. So there is a way to break this loop, definitely. And internships, as you could see, this is my favorite. I've done a few of them, so why it's so great, why I personally enjoy it. There is, as I said, the lower threshold. You don't need to have such a great experience. Then in the end of the internship, you might get an offer for the full-time position, at least in some companies. That's the case. So that might be a step into your career, because the employer will know you way better, or your team will know you way better from the internship experience than from just interview session. But that's not the most important part. For me, the most important part is that you can try out what you like. You can discover your passions. Internship is usually a few weeks or a few months, and so you can try without any like a long commitment. You can go, you can try, you can learn if you like something. Also, if something is not super interesting, then you'll do it. You'll have some fun, but you will change your focus. It's also good to learn what you don't like. So yeah, you can explore different companies, different countries maybe, and different topics and themes. So especially in the beginning, when you learn, when you're in the university, that's a super good part of it. You'll have a motivation to learn because you will have a project, you will have a job. That's usually a good motivation compared to doing a personal project, which you need to have some self-discipline. And then you will meet wonderful people with more experience than you, which is great because you can learn from them. But you also meet other interns, which is even better, or maybe not better, but it's a fun part to meet people like you, make some friendships, and you know, support each other. That's definitely a great thing. This is a sad slide. I hope it won't be. The rejections. So rejections is something you will encounter a lot. I got a lot of them. So there will be many of them, and there will be more rejections than the offers. That's very common experience. So prepare for that, and also don't worry if you don't get a job very quickly. And some rejections, I'm not obviously working in HR, but my experience is that some rejections are not anything personal. It's just that the position is already granted to someone else, and the moment you applied, it was already outdated. That might be one reason, but also that will happen a lot. Also, depends which stage you're rejected. If you're rejected after your interview, then wonderful, because you have some experience you can learn based on. If your interview went wrong, then you can think about it and do it better next time. So if you can learn something from the applications, that's great, even if the outcome is negative. So yeah, that's the thing to remember, and don't get discouraged by that. If you have too many, maybe take a short break, do something else, and then go back to it. But don't give up. And yeah, so the message I got a lot, especially on the beginning, was this communicate that unfortunately we won't be able to move forward with your application. And if you see a lot of them, that might be discouraging. But then you even more like the positive news. Some things you can do also is networking, and I personally like LinkedIn a lot. That's the one I use. And well, to say this event is happening because of LinkedIn, that's how we met with Isika, and that's how I learned about the organization, and that's how we discussed the details. So this event is sort of an outcome of the networking over LinkedIn. So I definitely recommend this because you can meet people, you can learn different perspectives, you can explore opportunities either directly. There is a job search, but also you can see where other people are working, what are they saying about the job or their field, and you can connect. Also, you can get referrals, which we discussed recently on LinkedIn. This is something that sometimes can help you. Not always, but definitely worth trying instead of cold start when you just apply as anyone else. Then you can reach out to some employees of the company and chat with them and ask about the job, and also build a relation with them, and maybe if you know them, you can ask for referrals. That's something to remember. Cool. So also the part of the job application are interviews, and they can take different forms. It might be scary at the beginning because you're in a very uncomfortable situation that someone is sort of examining you. It's not necessarily the case, but you might get that impression. And not everyone is born for explaining their ideas aloud under the stress. But something you can learn how to do. You can practice it at least. And yeah, and it might be fun. I myself learned some stuff on the interviews, both technical. I learned some functions in Python, some interesting stuff. I also learned about the culture of Norway a bit during the interview. So you might learn based on that. And so there are different types of interviews. There are technical interviews, also coding interviews. So one way to make them better is practice, to do mock interviews with some other person. That's something you can do. Then there are behavioral questions. This is all questions of a type. What was your failure and how you managed to fix it? Or tell me about a difficult situation in your job, and then what happened next. So any questions about your experience in working in the team or working on something? And I tell you that this is very awkward at the beginning. I don't know what's your experience, but this is very awkward, and not everyone also, again, not everyone is born to answer these questions easily. The good news is that you can sort of practice. There is not so many questions. There is usually like a list of some, I don't know, 20 questions that occur very frequently. And it's not the goal to learn by heart the answers. That's not definitely what you want to do. But you can at least think about some situations that you're gonna use in your answers. So you can think of some examples that something was wrong, or some examples that you were managing some group of people, and you can think of these examples, so you don't need to, under the stress of the interview, you don't need to search for them, because that might be a bit weird. My experience is that I was once asked about what was some mistake I did, and I couldn't think of anything. Like I had blank mind. I couldn't find anything reasonable, and then I was stressed that I don't want to admit that I make failures. I definitely do them, but I couldn't just find anything interesting for this interview. So you can prepare a bit for that. Well, question time. Let's stop. Cold messaging as an employee of some company seems really awkward. Any ideas on how to start such a conversation asking for a referral? Cool. So that's exactly what we recently talked with Istika on LinkedIn. So we recommend to try that, and also share your experience or what you think. But well, you don't start. I guess you don't start with asking for a referral. That's a bit awkward, right? But you definitely can ask people what they think about their job, and spend some time on them, on understanding what they do, who they are, and learning from them, and build some relation by sharing also something that you know and can be interesting to them. Yeah, but there might be different strategies, definitely. So if you just, I think you can cold message, just don't cold message for your own business at the very beginning. it doesn't look very good, right? That would be my take here. Another question: what are the difficult parts in the selection process? Coding, in-person interview. Oh, good one. That depends a lot on the person, what you are comfortable with and what you're not. So I believe that interviews in general are. There is some echo. This I hear myself. Okay. So I believe that for me, at least, the challenging part were actually the interviews. I couldn't see the other person, so the phone interviews. I didn't quite like this. To talk to a person I don't even see. But that's a very personal thing. But the difficult parts that you can interpret it in different ways. So, for instance, the difficult part is to get through resume screening. If you already get an interview, then you can claim that everything is in your hands. But before that, the process is a bit of black box. You don't really see it. You don't know what to improve. You just send your resume and you got a binary answer, yes, no. So this is a bit frustrating sometimes, and because you don't know if it was because of some particular reason or for no reason, or what can you change to improve. Well, there are ways to reach out to recruiters, to ask someone about, do my resume look good? Definitely there are things like that. Also, for me, at least at the beginning, the challenging part was that, okay, I can solve problems. So the coding part, I can do it, but I don't really do it when somebody's watching me while I'm coding. This is not something we're used to, right? You usually code in your own desk and nobody's watching you. And all of a sudden somebody is watching how you do it live, which is a bit awkward and unusual situation. Cool. We have another comment, which is very interesting. It's basically that there are resume screening systems, and that they pre-filter some of the candidates before even a human being is looking at it. That's an interesting one. So the first comment is that yes, I believe this is the case, and it's probably good to have your resume working good with an automatic parser, so that you don't have too complicated structures, too many columns. So think about it. What would, if you have a PDF, think about what would Microsoft Word do with that document, or even some notepad or something. There are websites that can check it for you, but this is where the tricky part happens. I recently saw that there is a fake impression that this procedure is very frequent, and this impression is built by companies that get money that earn on you, that get money from helping you to build your resume, and so there is a LinkedIn post on that. I can search for it later. That claims that yes, this happens a lot, but it's not so painful as it seems, or as some companies try to claim, making business on it. So I don't know. It's also unfortunately, it's also the part that the companies are not very happy to share because, well, why this is done? This is done to pre-filter a lot of applications to a number manageable by humans. So say if a big company like Facebook gets thousands of applications, that would be too difficult to a recruiter to look at all of them and spend some reasonable time on each of it. So they pre-filter based on some algorithms or keywords, and then they have a smaller subset that they can dedicate the time and look carefully. So the companies don't want to admit that they do it. I mean, they rather not boast about it. But this is something that's definitely done. So your resume should be clear and have a relatively simple structure. That definitely helps both for automatic parsers and humans. Yeah, but this is a good comment. It's probably worth asking some other people about it because there is definitely a conversation around this. Thank you for this comment. Cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's cool. Just to add to that, um, one thing we should, one thing you should understand as a job seeker is forget about algorithm, forget about keywords because all what that, all what it does to your application just make it like robots. First, you are sending the resume to a human. Take it like this. After the review stage, a human just has to read your resume at one point or the other. So when you're writing for an ATS application tracking system, then I think you're doing something wrong. So when you're writing a resume, have it at the back of your mind that a human is going to read the resume. And ATS don't come in place at the beginning of your resume. For example, how LinkedIn jobs work when using it for hiring, because we use that a lot as the utilization for economic empowerment, is this that every job, every applicant that is not aligned to the job role, it's being filtered out. So it is left for me as an hiring manager or as a sourcer to set the algorithm to include all applicants. Then I go through all resumes. And same thing with all recruiters out there. Recruiters go through all resumes because that is their job. That is what they are being paid for. For example, Amila from Amazon, she goes through about 200 resumes per week. Elizabeth from Google, okay, she left Google recently, and she goes through over 100 resumes per week. They just have to go through it because that is what they are paid for. So when you're writing, ensure that your resume is value adding, as Michael has said. Okay, the question which will be asked is, how are you bringing value into this company? How will you communicate your value? And that is very crucial part of the resume. Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Also, instead of resume, or like not instead, but additionally, LinkedIn is a good one to use. It already have a same structure for everyone. So definitely, it's easy to navigate for a recruiter to and get information from there. So yeah, that's something to use as well. And there is also a way to build a resume from LinkedIn, but I didn't use that one too much. Cool. So let's quickly. I don't have too many slides left, so I hope we'll be sort of on time. So
Yeah.
okay. For salaries, that's a brief one because it's a complicated topic. There was some of the points I'm supposed to answer as might be how much you earn. The issue here is that it depends a lot on the company and country even more. So Unfortunately, or depending on where you are, the salaries differ between countries. So it's very difficult to give any numbers here. But what you can do is look at Glassdoor. This website has some information. People upload the information about how much they earn, and also some interview experiences and opinions about the company. So definitely worth trying to look at this website. You can get some sense of how much people earn, and ask your colleagues. This is an awkward one, obviously. This depends culturally, and so think about it, how you're going to do this. But usually when you're a student, and you can ask maybe how much other people earned when they started. It's already an outdated number probably if you're in something more experienced, but you can get some experience. But yeah, it's difficult to share something more specific here because it's some sort of sensitive topic. And then helping each other is a good one. So at my university, people were sharing their experience a lot about internships, about companies, about interviews. So when I started my uni, I already knew a lot from experience of my older colleagues. And don't think about it that you're competing in your community or in your university. Usually there is more than one job, so you don't directly compete, and it's better to share experiences and support each other than to compete, and that helps a lot. And at any moment you have the capacity to help other people, even if you're just beginning your journey, then you can definitely help other people. For one example is doing mock interviews for each other, and practicing interviews. Also looking at your resumes and proofreading. There are plenty of ways that you can support each other, share experiences, and building such a support group is definitely something that helped me and something that I recommend. And most of the tips were actually working for jobs in general. Two comments in the machine learning field specifically is that sometimes your education is helping to get a job. So for some, especially for some research positions, if you are going to be a researcher, publish papers, then having a PhD might help, and sometimes is even a requirement to get a job. Don't worry if you don't have it. It's not necessary to get a job. It's usually necessary to get a job in research. If you think about doing PhD, then good news, it is useful for some stuff. But that a lot depends. That's depending a lot on what you're planning to do. And again, there are a variety of roles. Remember about it. You might be more of an engineer, researcher, data analyst, and there is more. So you definitely find something for yourself, and don't get discouraged that you need to be a mathematical genius or you need to do a PhD. But contrary, if you like theory, if you like education and studying, then the good news is that it's worth diving into that world of research and publication sometimes, because that's very similar to what some people do in their professional career in the field of machine learning, because a lot of experiments, research, setting on a journey that nobody did before, and yeah, cool. That's all I have for now. Thank you again. Super great to see you all. Some friends from internships. So thank you a lot. Feel free to connect with any questions you might have, or just know each other better. I'm happy to do that. That's it. Hope it was any beneficial to you, and thank you. And if you have questions, ask now or later.
Wow, thank you so much. Sincerely, it's really awesome. And thank you for joining in. So if you have questions, just put that down in the comment box below.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the nice comments. I liked it a lot as well. It was
So
my first experience
great.
in using the tools like that, and being live on Facebook. So people, we learn all the time. I love it.
Wow, I love it. So, I hope you're able to learn about this. And also, for those who wants to connect with you, do you mind sharing how they can connect with you? If they have LinkedIn, which is more preferable.
Sure.
Also, okay. At this moment, we want to say thank you so much. We will be back in 30 seconds to give the final close of the event. Just stay tuned, please. All right. Yeah, yeah. Once again,
Cool. So I don't know if there'll be a reply. That's the question for Isika, but I guess there will be. It will be somewhere in the internet. So yeah. Sure. And yeah, again, if you have questions, you can ask them offline. You should be able to find me through LinkedIn or in some other way. So I'm gonna stay here for perhaps 1 more minute, and then yeah, thank you everyone, and have a good weekend. See you then.